Serving 26 schools across more than 500 square miles, Pulaski County Special School District is one of the largest school districts in the state of Arkansas. Our district strives to help each student discover his or her full potential while preparing students for life and cultivating future leaders. PCSSD continues to strengthen the relationship between its public schools and the community. Our district is committed to creating a nationally recognized school district that assures that all students achieve at their maximum potential through collaborative, supportive, and continuous efforts of all stakeholders. The schools participating in this football game are members of the Arkansas Activities Association as authorized by their school board. The administrators of these schools have helped to write the rules and regulations that govern participation of students in competitive activities for the schools that are members of the AAA. The Arkansas Activities Association, which is sponsoring this football game, is a voluntary nonprofit educational association of some 500 junior and senior public and private high schools of Arkansas. The regulations which guide these events are adopted by the schools themselves and determine the type of program they believe to be most desirable for high school youth. The Arkansas Activities Association is one of 50 state organizations that belong to the National Federation of High School Associations. This association formulates policies, game rules, and standards for inter-school competition. The schools of Arkansas have adopted these rules on eligibility which correspond to those recommended by the National Federation. The Arkansas Activities Association recognizes that athletes represent more than themselves in athletic competition. They represent their team, their fellow students, their teachers, and the community. Athletes who display good sportsmanship reflect high moral standards.
Welcome, football fans, to the Mill Sports Network. It is postseason, so that means we will be bringing you all playoff coverage. I'm Tyler Found, the head play-by-play broadcaster, along with my partner, Carlton Schutz, who will give you guys some insight on that defensive side of the ball. But before we jump into the pregame show, I would like to shout out Kayla Fletcher, who is working production for us tonight. And we also have a little twist with our man Steve being down on the field for a little bit of sideline reporting. So that is how we will be broadcasting tonight. And tonight we have a matchup in this playoff. I mean, we have the Comets. They're 9-1, and they've only lost one conference game. That was to Robinson a couple weeks ago. They lost right before the end of the game on a play that could have won them the game and a two-point conversion. Carl, what were your thoughts on that?
That was just tooth and nail football right there, Tyler. I have to credit both teams. They put on a absolute show. It was an absolute show, Tyler, I tell you. And if you missed it, I hate that you did. I did hate that our Comets couldn't pull it off, but the Robinson Senators were able to make a huge stop on a two-point conversion play that would have decided the game.
And, Carl, while we're still here on our Comets here at the U, you know that's what they like to call them, I would like to state that the Comets are the number 2 seed. Like I said, they only lost to Robinson 29-28. And once we dive into this playoff information, it's kind of crazy. I mean, the Comets are 6-16 all-time playoff record. Their 17th playoff appearance. They never won a state title. But on the upside, they are averaging 308 passing yards per game, 155 rushing yards per game, and they're scoring 37 points per game. That is their average, and they're only giving up 22 points per game, averaging 4 sacks a game. And, of course, we know who our leading sack person is. And Carl, that's one of your favorite players. Could you just say who that is right there?
That is Derek Murdoch. We know what he can do. He is a major threat in the pass game. If you are a quarterback, you have to be aware of where 20 is at all times, along with number 10 and number 3, Caleb Sane and Charleston Collins.
And Carl, you did mention quarterback in there, so just to talk about quarterbacks, Ringo, Turk as they like to call him, he is completing 66% of his passes for 3,043 yards, which is third in the state. He has 24 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. So that's a stat right there that doesn't need anything else to say about it. And Daniel Brown, who is the leading rusher, he has 440 yards on the season. And you can't really say too much about that because the comments are, you never know what you're going to get from him. You never know who's going to be in the backfield. And, I mean, you want to let Ringo do his thing. They have great guys on the outside perimeter. And the leading person is QJ King, leading that receiving corps with 1,002 yards. He's ninth in the state in yards, and he has 8 touchdowns on the season. And Tyler Johnson, who is also a great receiver, he's very underrated in this offense, but he has 562 total receiving yards on the year. And, of course, our main man, Jabray Shaw, the cheat code. Crazy.
No, insane, man.
What did you say last game? Ocho goes loco. I didn't like that one much, Carl, but he does go loco. Jabray Shaw has 20 total touchdowns, 10 rushing, 6 receiving, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 interceptions. And he also has a pick 6. So I might be knocking him on one of those. He might have 21 total touchdowns on the season. And, of course, like you said, Derek Murdoch leads the state in sacks with 15. Charlie Collins, 5th in the state with 10. And Jabray Shaw, 1st in the state and 13th in the nation in interceptions with 10 interceptions.
And that is wild. He is one of the best players, if not the best player in the state of Arkansas this year. Just being able to be a dual threat on both sides of the ball, on the offensive side, at receiver, even at quarterback on a direct snap, running back in the backfield, wherever the ball is, that is where you can find Jabray Shaw for sure. And Tyler, I want to get into a little bit of the opposing team today. I have a few stats from them, and I've been following them throughout the course of the season. I do know that they are a well-coached ball team.
Yes, sir.
And they do have junior quarterback Contreras, and he is amazing, Tyler. I must say so myself. They have 3 receivers that have at least 50 yards receiving per game, 2 of those in the 80-plus range. So that shows you that they have multiple threats, and they are not scared to throw that ball down the field. But we know that when you throw that ball down the field against the Comets, you're rolling the dice every time. And some teams, most teams, have just not come up lucky.
They never get that lucky 7, Carl. You're absolutely correct. And talking about Matthew Contreras, junior quarterback, he has 2,493 yards passing, which makes him 7th in the state, 30 touchdown passes, and only 4 interceptions. He completes 53% of the passes that he makes. And like you said about their wide receiving core, Derek Hicks is the senior wide receiver and leads his team with 859 yards, making him 15th in the state. And, Carl, we can't forget they do have a balanced offense. And could you just tell them about Perry Jones, the junior running back?
The junior running back, standing at 5'11", 190 pounds, wearing number 13. He has 10 touchdowns on the season and averages 5 yards a carry. He has 702 yards this season. And, Tyler, he can get loose. And when he does get loose and gets that confidence going, when his legs get rolling, it just seems like as the game goes on, he just gets a little tougher.
And, Carl, I know you played a little bit of linebacker and safety, and they have a junior linebacker, Kendall Williams, standing at 6'3" and 205 pounds.
My God, yes, Kendall is a player that I definitely keyed in on this week. He had 12 tackles, Tyler, 12 tackles per ball game this year, and 6 sacks, which both of those leading the team.
Definitely, and Carl, we know how those sacks can get because we know it is atrocious when you play against this Comets defense. But just talking about these Hot Spring Trojans who are 7-3, 5-2 in conference, their head coach is Daryl Burnett, 14-25 overall at Hot Springs, 5-17 all-time playoff record, 20th playoff appearance, and their last state title was, Carl, can you take a guess?
I can't, Tyler. I have to say probably sometime in the 70s or 80s.
1972, Carl. You're absolutely correct. They have 4 state titles overall, and they're 1-0 in overtime games and 4-1 on the road this season. And we all know that this isn't going to be so much of a nice environment. It's going to be a great environment for playoff football, but an away game, it's cold outside. Home field advantage. You might not think that's much in this high school level, but it definitely is. The home field advantage is real, and I'm just ready to see a great game. I mean, we have KRK4 News here. We have stations here, Carl. I think this game is highly anticipated.
It definitely is, Tyler. And I can't blame all of the people that decided to get here early. They were here as early as we are. We thought we almost were late to the game, Tyler. As many fans as we saw lined up outside of the building tonight.
Definitely thought we were late, and Carl. What's crazy is the daylight saving time is starting to kick in and mess with us a little bit. I mean, when I pulled up, I thought we were late. I mean, the fans were here. It's dark outside, so I'm just looking. I'm like, man, what's going on? But you reminded me that daylight saving time that'll get you every time, Carl.
And as we know, playoff implications are here, so we know that if the Comets weren't able to pull this off tonight, this will be our last game. We want to thank everybody that's been rocking with us all season. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe on YouTube as Mills Sports Network as well as Natural State Sports.
Definitely. And on the upside, Carl, if we talk about the good things in this matchup, if the Comets do win here at the U, they will be traveling to Springdale next week for another playoff game. So once again, we are in high hopes, and we're just ready to see what happens, how this team can rock out, and how I'm lost for words. Just to be honest, I'm lost for words.
And we know that when playoff time comes, Tyler, we know this from experience. When playoff time comes around, records go out the window, stats go out the window, conference records, season records, everything goes out the window, and you're just playing nitty-gritty football. Every down matters, every yard matters. This is high school playoff football in the state of Arkansas, and I'm so glad that we could bring you the coverage here today because I promise you it's going to be a show worth watching. So make sure you guys send out the link and tap in.
And, Carl, while we still have moments in this pregame show, I just want to talk about some of the players. I mean, it's been a long season. It's been a great season. But the young player that stands out, of course, we have Charlie. We have Caleb Sain. We have those players. But Achilles Ringo, a.k.a. Turk, that's what they like to call him, the junior quarterback. He's been outstanding. He's led his team to a 9-1 record, had multiple big games. And I had the chance to catch up with him and ask him what statement he's trying to make. And he told me that himself and his team are the best every night they step on the field, no matter the opponent. He says he wants to be talked about when the conversation comes up of who is the best quarterback in the nation and showing college coaches that he can win games.
And he has proven both this year, but I like the chip on his shoulder and the fact that he still wants to be able to prove a point. We saw him do it with his legs with 4 rushing touchdowns 2 weeks ago. And we also saw him do it with 4 passing touchdowns 2 games in a row. I believe he has had 4 touchdowns or more, Tyler, I want to say in 4 of the last 5 ball games. So, Turk, keep doing your thing, man. I know that he's only a junior, so he will be back next year, and that is scary to see
and Carl,
where the sky could be able to take that kid.
Not to cut you off, but also I know we came out here, got to talk to him at the practice a little bit, and just tell him about what you had, the conversation was like when you were able to talk to him.
Well, we asked him about being a young quarterback and being that junior. We asked him about being a junior, and he said that he takes on the pride as if he were a senior with these guys because he knows how much that it means to them on a night-to-night basis. So, Tyler, with that being said, that is the spearheaded animal that you want leading your ball club.
It definitely is, Carl. And also, talking about that conversation leading up into this playoff, the postseason, this playoff game, I mean, I asked him how practice was, and he said he's just doing his best to try and lead his team and send people out with a bang. I mean, he says everyone has been locked in and waiting for Friday night. They're expecting nothing short of a win. And, Carl, I can't really blame him. I mean, the kid has been outstanding this year and even last year in his sophomore season. So this isn't new to him. Putting up numbers isn't new to him. I mean, when he was a sophomore, he played 11 games, 65% completion, 2,327 passing yards, 15.3 per attempt, and 211.5 yards per game, 300 rushing yards, 17 touchdown passes, and 8 touchdowns on the ground. And, of course, one of his biggest games was the game that he threw 33 of 38 with 5 touchdowns and 451 passing yards. The kid is absolutely outstanding, a great quarterback, young quarterback. Not sure if you can choose a better young QB to lead your team.
I'm not sure either. And there have been conversations about the other quarterbacks around the state, such as Robinson's quarterback. But we know that Achilles Ringo is right there in the same range with those guys. And we actually got to catch up with Derek Murdoch as well ahead of this week's action. And we asked him about dominating on both sides of the ball and how does he manage being the power back and the leader in the state in sacks on defense. So we wanted to know what motivates that kid because he has a high motor and he's one of the high motor players on this Cummins ball team. And he said he's motivated by the game and he just loves playing football. And he said him being on the field is just simply energized by 50% of his family that push him on the day-to-day basis and the other 50% driving himself to be the best. He is a self-motivated kid. I'm not sure how he does it play in and play out every single Friday.
And, yes, that is something that's hard. I mean, that's absolutely hard. Like I said, I'm sorry, we got sidetracked, but like I said, that is absolutely hard to do. And just to highlight some of these other players that we have, I mean, Daniel Brown, who did pick up an offer from the Georgia Warhawks. He picked that up around September. He's also a special kid. He's a two-sport athlete, but plays running back here, and he's, as we know, I always say, he is crazy in the open field at kick returner. The kid can take it the distance at any time. And just not only talking to those two players, but we were able to also catch up with a lot of players on this Comets team. Like I said, it's postseason. We were just able to catch up and talk to some of these players. And I asked him, what does he feel like he can continue to improve at in his game? What does he need to improve on in his game? And, of course, he's been having a good season. Like I said, he picked up an offer. And I just wanted to dive into that. And he told me he still has a lot to work on, and he works to work on everything right now. But he says he's good, but he wants to be excellent. The next step is to be great at everything he does, and he just wants to work on his craft and his skill set and improve day by day.
And he's done that and progressed throughout the course of the season, Tyler. Just being able to withstand the course of a high school football or any football season is a lot. Just being able to stay healthy and really dedicating yourself to recovery and things of that sort. So that has been good to see from this ball club, and I'm glad they were able to do that tonight.
So we're going to have to kill the broadcast for a second. But just tell them that we'll be right back.
And we will be back here shortly. We will have to stop this broadcast here in a second.